Hello and welcome, my dear friend. I want you to pause for a moment and let this truth settle in your spirit. Heaven has been watching you, not with suspicion, not with the expectation of failure, but with a kind of awe that is rarely spoken about. When you stood at the crossroads of your life and the easier path tempted you, you did what so few ever dare. You chose the harder way, the way of truth, the way of love, the way of integrity when compromise would have been more comfortable. And heaven noticed. Scripture tells us in Hebrews 12:1 that we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. That means every act of faith you have lived has not been lost. The angels, the saints, the hosts of heaven, they have leaned in to watch you, not because you are perfect, but because you dared to keep going when quitting seemed easier. They have seen humanity for ages, yet they pause when they see someone like you choosing to keep faith alive in silence. Think of what the Apostle Peter wrote. Even angels long to look into the mysteries of God's work in humanity. 1 Peter 1:12. That mystery is you. Your life is not small in heaven's sight. The unseen decisions you've made, the sacrifices no one clapped for, the nights you wept in private, and the mornings you got up with shaking hands but steady faith. Those are the things that moved heaven. Heaven doesn't marvel at loud applause or big stages. Heaven marvels at the sigh you gave instead of shouting back in anger, at the forgiveness you extended instead of vengeance, at the kindness you showed when cruelty would have felt more natural. In those subtle, sacred moments, heaven heard a note of music no human audience could ever detect. As Psalm 56, verse 8 says, "You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Even your tears have been recorded as eternal treasures." Anyone can sing when the spotlight is on, but to carry a song through midnight hours, to worship when no one hears, to hold love alive when betrayal has cut deep, that is rare. That is why heaven stands in awe of you, because you did not let pain harden your heart. You did not let failure define your identity. You did not let despair have the final word. You kept walking, and in a world that surrenders so quickly to bitterness, your perseverance has become radical resistance. Do you see it now? Every act of obedience, every quiet choice of integrity, every prayer whispered through tears has been sending ripples through eternity. You have become the very sermon heaven has proclaimed for centuries, but now lived out in flesh and blood. You are a living testimony of God's grace. As Paul wrote, you are our letter, written on our hearts, known and read by everyone. 2 Corinthians 3:2. Maybe you still see yourself as ordinary. Maybe you are distracted by bills, by routines, by disappointments. But heaven is not blind to what you carry. Every silent decision not to retaliate, every refusal to compromise when no one was looking, every moment you chose patience instead of complaint, those have been thunderclaps in heaven's courts. Heaven has already celebrated you. Heaven has already written down your obedience as eternal treasure. And those choices didn't just change heaven's record, they changed you. They made you stronger, sharper, wiser, more radiant. Even if you can't always feel it, the Spirit of God has been shaping you like a potter with clay. Isaiah 64:8 says, "We are the clay, you are the potter, we are all the work of your hand." What looked like breaking was shaping. What felt like silence was preparation. What felt like loss was actually planting. That is why you are rare. That is why you are chosen. Angels have seen light collide with darkness. They have seen seas split, mountains move, the dead raised. Yet still they pause when they see you hold faith through storms. They have seen humanity curse God when pain arrived. But then they saw you cling to him anyway, and they could not look away. That is a miracle. So don't diminish what you've done. Don't minimize your obedience. Heaven has already marked it. Heaven has already celebrated it. And soon the world will feel the fruit of it. What you sowed in silence is about to bloom in the open. That integrity that seemed invisible will become undeniable. The forgiveness that seemed wasted will become a doorway for peace. The prayers whispered in the dark will soon echo in the daylight. You became a vessel that kept pouring even when empty. A fighter who bore scars and still chose peace. A soul that refused to quit. That is not ordinary, that is heavenly. You are already walking in blessing that cannot be taken back. As Romans 11:29 declares, for the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. His hand has been on your life from the very beginning. Blessing is not always noise, applause, or open doors. Blessing is every breath you still carry. Blessing is the strength that held you up when you had no reason left. Blessing is the light you held onto when darkness tried to suffocate it. That was God's love keeping you alive. That was proof that he never left you. The world trains us to measure blessing by visibility, but God's blessings are often seeds before they are harvests. For years, you have been walking with seeds of favor hidden within. Now, the soil around you is shifting. What has been buried is about to break through. Psalm 1 verse 3 promises this. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. The season is shifting. The fruit is inevitable. And when the moment comes, you will wake up one morning and know it. The air will feel different. The weight you once carried will lift. Not because the world suddenly values you, but because the earth will finally reflect what heaven has always known about you. Favor doesn't stay in one lane. It spreads across every part of life. Relationships, finances, health, peace, purpose. Where you once felt pressed, you will feel space. Where you once felt resistance, you will feel ease. Grace will carry what once felt impossible. Do not call this luck. Do not call it coincidence. This is the reward of endurance. This is the return on years of obedience. And you don't need to chase it. It will come to you. Favor is not earned like wages. It is inherited like breath. You already carry it. You are already marked by it. But when favor begins to show, it unsettles others. Don't be surprised when those who once ignored you now study you. Don't be surprised when they sense something in you they cannot explain. What they feel is heaven's approval manifesting on earth. For all the times they doubted, dismissed, and thought you were finished, God was working under the surface. They saw delay, but heaven saw development. They saw silence, but heaven saw preparation. Friend, you're not waiting for God's love. You already have it. You're not waiting for proof of His goodness. You're living proof. The blessing is not on its way as though you had to earn it. The blessing has always been here. A tree does not lose its identity when winter strips it bare. It remains rooted, alive, preparing for spring. Nothing you lost has stolen your design. Your roots have gone deeper. Your life has been multiplying beneath the surface. And soon, fruit will burst forth. You will notice doors opening, not because you forced them, but because they were always yours. You will feel joy returning, not because the world allowed it, but because heaven decreed it. When that day comes, don't shrink back. Don't second guess it. Receive it boldly. Every prayer, every act of love, every tear was a deposit into eternity, and eternity always pays with interest. Remain steady, not passive, but anchored. Watch as God's favor begins to touch every part of your life. Health, relationships, clarity, peace, and joy that no one can steal. Because when you step into this new season, you will not just feel different, you will be different. God's love has been shaping you all along, and soon you will wake up and everything around you will confirm what heaven has declared about you from the start. You were blessed all along. You were loved all along. You were never forgotten. As Jeremiah 31:3 says, I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness. That has always been your reality, so hold on. The world is about to catch up with what heaven has always seen in you. And as we finish, I want to invite you deeper. If this message brought peace to your heart, take that peace with you into your quiet moments with God. I've created another space, Simplified Serenity, a place of soaking worship instrumentals for prayer, rest, and stillness. If you felt heaven's nearness here today, you will find more of it there. The link is in the description, and I would love for you to join me, for you to